We are Absolute Radio, and right now, you're listening to Frank Skinner's section of the broadcast.
There's a little bear that you've never met before. He's a lot of fun. Children everywhere grow to love him more and more. He's a number one. There's a million stories to be told of the things that he's done. And we're gonna tell them all to you, so come along. Everybody, whoa, Rupert. Rupert the bear. Everyone knows his name. Rupert. Rupert the bear. Everyone come and join in all of his games. Okay.
I don't like the sound of his games.
He was a noughts and crosses wizard. Rupert the bear. Used to play it on his own trousers. Hello, all you catch us in frolicsome form here at Absolute Radio Basement Land. This is Frank Skinner. I'm with the Cockerel. And I'm with Emily Dean. Anybody want a crunchy while I'm going up here? I'm going to the kiosk. Oh, I love that. I love the idea of the kiosk.
Yeah.
Anywhere where somebody lives where there's a small hole in their window for passing things out is great. Anyway, here we are. Let me tell you something about a little insight maybe into Broken Britain.
Okay.
Uh-oh. And I don't want to start off on a negative note. But I was walking through the Victoria area of London.
Oh, got a bit policeman.
Yeah, I was proceeding in what would it have been?
Northwest?
Southerly.
Oh, southerly.
I was proceeding in a southerly direction when a man, I wouldn't say he was shabbily dressed, he was borderline. He said to me, can I have something I need to tell you? There is something I must tell you. And I thought, well, I know this kind of approach. You know, there's some people that just say, "Have you got any money?" And there's some people that they wheedle. Mm-hmm. So I said, "Yeah." And he said, "No, I'm not." He said, "I'm not after money." He said, "I've got money." And I thought, well, okay, then I'll examine your wares in the conversation front. He said, "I have to say, you look very, very like 50s rock and roll star Gene Vincent." Well, this is quite an opener, isn't it?
Isn't it?
And he said, "Do you know Gene Vincent?" I said, "Yeah." He said he died with the Big Bopper. I said he didn't. So already we were in dispute, me and the stranger. I said, "I think you'll find that he's Ulster. He's not his Ulster. He's Ulster
In Paisley?
In the early 70s. I said that was Eddie Cochran that went down.
Oh yeah,
with the Big Bopper and Richie Valens. I said I lambasted him with facts. And he said, he said, well, you really look like Gene Vincent. He said, who wore a leg caliper, but I didn't bring that up. And I said, oh, well, thanks very much. And I went to leave, and he said, I need £1.79. Now, this is another technique I find quite interesting where people trying to get money.
Yeah.
They pick a very specific song.
Oh, yeah.
So the idea that there must be something that they want to buy, it's a great thing.
Yeah.
And I said to him, but you said you didn't want money. You've got money. He said, I've got money, he said, but I need another 179.
Well, don't we all love?
To make it up to the sum and he hadn't even planned a purchase. He said to make it up to the sum I need. Right. Well, that's not good enough.
It all sounds very half-baked.
It was. Although the Gene thing, I mean, 50s rock and... I was the youngest ever member of the British Vintage Rock and Roll Association when I was 10. My dad wouldn't let me go to the meetings because he said the blokes looked weird. In the,
oh, it was all right for our Keith to have blood-winning pig posters on his wall. They were pretty weird.
But a poster won't hurt you. Well... Maybe that's not true. Look at the Shawshank Redemption. But it just got me thinking about the whole scamming thing because this. Do you know Gene Vincent, by the way? Are you familiar with his work?
Yes, I know who he is.
In a vague way, in the way I am with everything. Yeah.
One of my first moments of great disillusion. There was a fabulous Gene Vincent song called "Pistol Packing Mama." Mm-hmm. Put your pistol down, Ma. Put that pistol down. And that's what it was. It was about his girlfriend going to shoot him. So it was. You
sort of felt like you were channeling him there. It was quite Victorian.
It was lay that pistol down, babe. Lay that pistol down. Pistol packing mama. Lay that pistol down. That was and then they had an advert on the telly for Roundtree's fruit pastels. With a mother in the house with children saying, "Put those pastels down, Ma," and ending up with "Pass those pastels round." And it was the first time when I thought commercialism has got a dirty side to it.
Yeah.
I was 11 probably. Anyway, we could sit here all day talking about it. So then I heard about my second scam moment of the week. I was talking to a bloke about this guy, the Gene Vincent approach, and he said, a friend of mine had a weird one. He said the other week he got a Nigerian email. Well, we all know what that means.
Mm-hmm. Well, not in my case. That could have been a message from my grandfather.
Is he still alive?
Yeah, he's still around, I think.
Oh, okay.
He's a bigamist, so it's very hard to track him down.
Well, yeah.
Anyway.
Does he constantly email you asking for money?
He has done in the past, yes, but that's another story.
I like the fact that in your defence of the Nigerian nation, you said that they don't all send scamming emails. There's my bigamist grandfather.
Who's genuine, who really wants that money from me.
Well, he's got about 5 households on the go. Anyway, so this guy got the email. The email said, "My brother is an astronaut. And he's been in space for 10 years. And they haven't got enough money to bring him down."
This is a Nigerian astronaut.
This is a Nigerian astronaut.
Like a space version of Cool Runnings or something.
Also, exactly. Surely, if you run out of money in the astronautical business, it's not about not bringing them down, is it?
No.
That's the end of that.
Yeah.
So, I don't know what he's living on up there. He must be low on the meat and 2 veg tablets.
It's like that film.
I didn't know they had
a Moon.
Oh,
Moon?
Yeah. It reminded me of John Tracy, who was the one on the space station in Thunderbirds who never came down to Tracy Island, just up there, seemingly on his own.
Oh,
I was unaware also that they'd invested money into space exploration.
What, you haven't heard of the Nigerian space mission? No, he's stuck up there. His brother, I mean, you can imagine, if you indulge me for a moment, the brother said, "This is a dilemma," when he realises he's going to be up there. God bless him. Anyway, I don't think it's true. That's my theory. And God forgive me if there is a Nigerian astronaut who's been stuck up there for 10 years.
Once again, it could be my grandfather.
Maybe.
I said one of my grandfathers.
Well, you don't think he's married
Have you got over there?
Is he married a moon maiden?
I don't know. That's my grandmother. How dare you? No, I've got 5 grandfathers on that side. Yeah. We'll talk about it later.
5 grandfathers?
Yeah. It got very confusing.
Yeah, I bet it did.
That's quite a scam. Did you give the man this £1.79? That's the bit of closure I'm now hearing. No. Good.
I didn't, because he started by saying he didn't want money, and I think that's wrong.
He's painted himself into a corner that he can never step across.
It's like a detective novel. You can mislead, but you can't blatantly lie in order to stop them from guessing who done it.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what he did. Sorry, Em.
And no, I was just going to say, you're absolutely spot on about the specific amount. Because someone once came up to me near King's Cross. Sorry, that sounds terrible.
That's all right. And you asked for a specific amount. Is that the story?
Did they offer a specific amount? You're a pedestrian at this point. It was raining. You're in a doorway. Anyway.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I'm picturing a black beret and fishnets is what I'm thinking. But there was no resistance, if you know what I'm saying. Certainly no French resistance. Carry on.
Oh dear. Okay, so I was genuinely near King's Cross.
No,
I didn't have the lads weren't out. I was innocently dressed, and he asked me for £34 to get home.
That's that easy.
That's what I thought.
That's a lot.
Where does he live? Barcelona. That's a lot of money. But I thought that was quite cleverly pitched. He was reasonably smartly dressed, and I thought. He's obviously thought, look, she's more likely to believe me. If I ask for like £4, she won't give me, whereas £34, of course.
But who's going to give £34?
That's what I thought. Well, he's had all this thing. He said, here's my address, and, you can send me,
It could have been genuine.
Yeah, right.
No.
I was stopped by a man in Birmingham with a petrol can.
Oh.
And he
Well,
said,
aren't we all, love?
I just need £4, blah, blah, blah. And then a couple of nights later, I saw him in another part of town with a petrol can. He just walks around with a petrol can.
Well, I've had a similar thing. There's a man in Greenwich that comes up to you in full motorbike leathers, holding a helmet, saying,
My friend's head is in this.
If you
Can
don't
you get me
give me
to
some money, I'm going to chop your head off and put it in here.
I'm going to avoid him. I don't like the sound of him.
He comes up to you in full motorbike leathers.
Holding a helmet.
And very sincerely goes, look, I just need some money for fuel. I've left my wallet at home and da-da-da, and doesn't ask for a lot. And I think my wife gave him some money the first time she saw him. I didn't. I'm more cynical than she. And then we saw him again the next time we were in Greenwich. Still in the mud. I suppose there's a bit of you that thinks, well, you've gone to a lot of trouble, so I suppose...
Yeah, I mean, fancy dress, basically.
It is, isn't
Yeah.
it? But it is
Well, it's like the faux bungee jumpers. Have you come across them?
No.
Oh, they say, oh, well, they come up to you, they accost you, sometimes in King's Cross, sometimes in other red light districts, but they accost you, and they have a piece of paper and they say, I'm doing this parachute jump / bungee jump next week, and I just need some money if you could sponsor me. And it's a sort of tatty photocopy thing. I think, well, I'm not going to subsidise your death wish.
I've never encountered a faux bungee jump.
I thought you meant that homeless people were bungee jumping off buildings. You were walking and they suddenly appear, have you got 10 pence for it? And then they've gone back up again. I just did a couple of 20 quid. I mean,
New Zealand pickpocketing.
yeah, it's just that when they're finished doing and they're just hanging there.
Yeah. And
It's
that's when
terrible.
the authorities come along.
It looks like the homeless have been put out to dry, like farmers do with moles. And they hang them on the fence.
Well, my brother has been the victim of petty crime this week.
This week?
Yeah. It's possibly the most petty crime I've ever heard of. He, you know your car wing mirrors? You know the plastic bit at the front of your car's wing mirrors? Someone has pinched one of them one night and another one the next night. So his
that's
car...
low.
I mean, it looks ridiculous, his car. It looks like a dog that's had its ears trimmed. You know?
But the mirror's still there.
The mirror's still there.
Just the
it's
back
still,
of it.
It's still fully functioning.
plastic casing
but,
is gone.
But the plastic case, so his car's not the colour of... His wing mirrors aren't the colour of his car.
No.
And you can see... They look a bit sort of Meccano.
A bit like...
robot-y type.
yeah, when you get a pocket watch with all the working showing through there.
Yeah. And...
But I like it. I should get rid of all the panelling on the car. Go for sort of steampunk. So that's the way. They might have started something there.
but infuriating, like when somebody's...
And what are they doing with that?
I don't know. I can't help but think it's opportunistic that somebody that lives near him has got the same model of car and has perhaps bashed a wing mirror and has just gone, I
I'll have those.
could have those. But not nice.
Maybe.
Not nice.
I'm thinking somebody building a life-size metallic giraffe. And they just get a series of those panels and they paint in between.
Or they've already done it and they just need the ears.
Yeah. They're a bit... what is the ears? Those things on the top of a giraffe's head, they're not ears, are they?
Oh, aren't they?
Those antennae. I think they have ears at the side and then they have antennae.
Oh, they've got the separate sort of stem.
Well, they're
affairs.
all CB radio enthusiasts. Oh, yeah. I don't know what their handles are.
No.
Probably
I
long
miss
neck.
CB radio.
How many neck-themed handles can you have? They must have been used up ages ago.
Yeah,
Crazy Paving is one very popular one.
Oh, that'd be good.
Because they are crazy paving on legs, the giraffes. I've often thought that.
Really are.
Was the CB radio quite big in Birmingham? I reckon it was.
Oh, it was absolutely massive. I once watched a workman next door and he carried a ladder up the garden while he's doing some work and he broke the cable on their CB radio mast. And the woman came and said, have you broke the cable? And he said, no, it was broke when I arrived. And I'd seen it all from my bedroom window. I didn't want to get involved in case he took offence.
There's no such thing as witness protection back then.
No, I didn't want another identity. I'd barely settled into my own.
Frank, there's something cheered my soul this week, and that was...
I thought you'd stop doing that. In the 80s.
90s.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
And that was, did you see the Hobbit house that had been built?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I loved it. I want to move in there.
Absolutely amazing.
It cost him, he spent £3,000. He built it from scratch with his own gnarly hands.
We should explain this. £3,000 for it.
Yeah.
It's one of the most beautiful houses I've ever seen.
Yeah. It's
And
very sort of Lord of the Rings, isn't it?
It is. It really is. Yeah.
Well, he sort of made it... it's when you go inside, there's all the furniture and stuff. It looks very like trees.
Yeah.
It made me realise, really, for the first time, that we kind of disguise wood when we use it. It also made me realise for the first time that the furniture and interior decorating businesses basically have got a sort of anti-bark policy. Because the first thing they do is take the bark off stuff. He's left all the bark on.
Very true.
And it looks Richard Bark on, that's what I call it. He's left it all on now.
Dave Swift.
Yeah.
Very successful effect, I think.
Yeah, I mean, this is why Baloo doesn't live indoors, because there's no bark on furniture. The scratching potential is... You know, it's like the fish and chip business won't leave the peel on.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so they don't look like potatoes. It's a very similar thing. So you've got a pine table, doesn't really look that much like wood. Leave the bark on. This bloke left the bark on, it looks great.
And what a man doing that.
What a man. I like the fact that
He's
his
very
name's
good looking.
Simon Dale, and he's moved to the Dale. It's sort of...
Do you think that's deliberate?
I don't think so, no. I think it's a happy accident. like me being Cochrane, the Cockerel.
Yeah.
Just one of those happy accidents.
But it is really knockout. It's one of the... You know, we often... We can be cynical on this show and critical at times, but I would love... I'd give him 3.5 to build me one.
Yeah.
That one costs 3.
Well, there is definitely a markup in the building game, isn't there? Because that doesn't look like £3,000's worth of property.
You should, honestly, look it... What would be the best way to look it up if people want to look it up?
SimonDale.net, I believe, is one of the best ways. That seems to be...
That's his own thing.
He's got his own...
Seems like it, yeah.
Oh, no, now I'm thinking it might be a ruse.
Yeah.
Do you think?
What, Nigerian man going into
No,
space?
business or something.
Yeah, that's what it'll be. My cousin has had to build a house from twigs because he just needs £8.49. No,
bungee jump.
It really looks brilliant.
It's fantastic.
But I'm impressed as well because I don't really do DIY, which I know wouldn't really surprise you. I'm just not. It's not my scene, to be honest, Frank.
No.
I've tried. God knows I've tried.
Have you tried?
Yes, I have, because I think there's something a bit pathetic when you live on your own, having to ring a male friend or just someone up and say, "Can you come and fix my boiler?" I looked up a YouTube video once on how to reignite a boiler.
Oh, yeah.
Well, yes, that's. I've seen videos like that on there. I feel I'm of an age where I can enjoy those videos more. It's less of a freak show.
I've reignited a few boilers in my time.
Oh, God, tell me about
You
it.
stop it.
No, will you actually tell me about it? No, don't.
it.
But not now.
So I needed...
There's a button that you press in and hold.
No, it had ceased to work.
I imagine
see.
you're the owner of a pink fake fur toolkit. You know, that kind of thing that the ladies get when they live on their own, but they never ever use it.
Yes, like a
sounds more-
screwdriver with a gold sparkly handle.
Yeah, exactly.
All sounds a bit Ann Summers. Pink furry.
You know, you can get. I've seen lady. I bought
I
my
know what you
girlfriend a
mean,
lady
Frank, yeah.
toolkit, and it was in a pink,
Right.
pink
Yeah,
container.
I don't know if that was household tools. But I know what you mean. You would expect that, but I try. At least I make the effort. But I don't really do Black and Decker and all that business. I expect you're quite good, Alan.
Well, expect again, because I am terrible. And
Oh,
also,
I thought you'd be good.
So didn't you, Frank?
You've got a DIY accent,
Yeah.
if you know what I mean.
yeah, you've really misjudged me, you know. Last
Yeah.
week you seemed to think I was some kind of proper man of the soil, like real person. No, I am. Not only am I incapable, but I don't even try. I am so reluctant that I just stop now. I just go, I'll do an extra gig and we'll get a man in.
Oh, really?
Well,
But you see, that to me, this is why I don't do DIY, but I don't beat myself up about
Yeah.
it. I get someone else to come in and beat me up. Because that would be too close to DIY. No, I don't feel, because I think, well, in my line of work, it's all DIY. I'm writing my
That's
own
true.
stuff.
Yeah.
So why should I feel bad that I don't build a shelf? Because that's someone else's DIY.
Yeah.
But if I was like one of the old comics who had all the stuff written for them, then I would feel bad. But, you know, having said that,
Yeah.
I heard only the other day of at least one comedian on Twitter
Oh,
who
yeah.
has people writing his tweets.
Don't.
No.
Yes. It wasn't the one I was thinking of, but you may be right. I don't think it's just one person, but how tragic is that? I thought tweeting
Yeah.
was all about communicating
Yeah.
your innermost thoughts.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I won't put a shelf up in my own home, but were I to tweet, I'd like to just have it registered now that I would do my own tweeting.
Yeah.
Can I just say my tweets are all my own work?
Well,
good on
that's
you.
great
Good on
news.
you. Well done, you.
Did I mishear that? No, it's not right. So I don't feel bad because that is DIY, isn't it? It's
Yeah,
DIY comedy. That's what I'm championing.
in a way. But the nearest I'll get to actual DIY is maybe a bit of painting. I don't mind a little bit of painting.
A bit of painting?
Bit of painting. Got taught how to decorate by Mickey Flanagan.
Did you?
Dust is the enemy of the decorator, Al. Worth remembering.
Dust.
Always. Dust.
Yeah.
Dust is the enemy of the decorator. Big decorator, Mickey. He used to be very good.
I'm imagining a comic book called The Decorator and a villain called Dust who he battles with. Maybe I'll check out the commercial viability of that idea. We'll see how it goes.
A lot of money in comic books these days,
Well.
especially about comics and decorators.
Or The Decorator. Or maybe it could be a wrestler.
Yeah.
Frank, we have had an email in during the week. I like
I
one
love
of
it
our-
when that happens.
So
We've
do
had
I.
excellent emails this week. Some excellent ones. Really fun.
And this is from Paul Martin Lawrence. He's called himself PML.
Good lads.
Are they separated names, or is there a hyphen involved?
He's put a hyphen between the Martin and the Lawrence.
Fair enough.
Unconventional, but I like him. He says, Dear Frank, Emily and Alan, I was listening to a few old podcasts and I happened upon Frank describing a meat pie sandwich, which sounded heavenly to me.
Very nice.
Has anyone else found that food products can be improved in odd ways? I'm a big fan of microwaving a pork pie until it sweats, which is not to everybody's taste, but it's an experience not to be missed, as it can then be eaten with a spoon. Yours faithfully, PML.
Does he work with the CIA torturing unit? They're
What do you
clammy.
say?
They're clammy at the best of times, aren't they, pork pies?
Oh,
But
yeah.
I've never tried that. I'm going to have to give that a go now. And you can eat it with a spoon. Does that mean that the outer casing hardens to such an extent?
Well, presumably, yeah.
You
can just
what I
dig
don't
in.
want it to become is one of the pies, what I call a China pie, which I hate most of all, is those pies that you get in pubs and there's no lower crust. It's a bowl. It's basically a bowl of
Yes.
stew with a pastry lid
It's like
on
a
it.
sort of toupee pie. I don't like those.
I hate those
yeah.
pies because
Toupee pie.
with a pie I want to slice and stuff. You know, and with those you can only have a scoop at best.
Couldn't agree more,
If
Frank.
he's thinking of a pork pie, they are meant to be served cold, I'm sure.
No, but you know they're meant to be. So,
Oh, yeah, that's what
you
he's
have,
saying.
You have
He's
to buck
bending
the
the rule.
trend.
Yeah, I'm just worried about the long-term health effects on eating warmed pork pie. It's just... But...
I know what you mean. Yes, there's a danger element. We should say to any of our listeners, make sure it's properly microwaved.
yeah.
And if there's any old people sitting in a home now who's thinking that chicken must be ready, it's been on for 25 minutes, can I urge you to be more patient? I'm going to try it, though. I'm definitely going to
Oh, I will
microwave a pork
definitely
pie.
try it. There are very few...
Yeah, I'm not.
There are very few descriptions of food that would make me go, ugh, and this is one of them, so therefore I think it must be an acquired taste. I'll have a go at that.
Yeah, but I wouldn't do a trellis top, if that's what you're thinking.
No.
No.
Because they're going to let the heat out, and I don't think they'll ever fully melt.
I'm
What-
assuming he means like a Melton Mowbray pork
Well, I'm
pie.
assuming, what, with a
Yeah, but
slightly raised...
they do a trellis, don't they?
It's a slightly raised dome, isn't it? Oh, is that a trellis?
You know, I mean about the ones where you get strips of pastry across and there's gaps where you can see the pork
Lattice,
through.
yeah.
Yeah, it's as if there's if you can imagine a pig's bottom pressed against trellis work in a small ornate garden, and you're thinking, oh, we might a bit of that. That's what they go for.
You get that more, the lattice, at the Ginsters end of the market, I find.
Oh, do you?
Move up a few divisions.
A few notches, and then you get the sweats.
Yeah.
But what must
Proper
happen,
butchers.
though, if you think about it, is the jelly must melt. It must become liquid.
Yeah.
Oh.
So the pork must be, like, bouncing around.
Oh, yeah.
Must be floating. It's like one of those chambers that people lie in to.
Oh, a
to relax.
flotation tank.
Yeah, it's like a flotation tank for a pork tablet.
I like the way you say it, because you make it sound like a flirtation tank.
Well-
and I'd like to go in one of those.
Well, I think when that man put the flour down the turret in Tiananmen Square, that wasn't that an element of a flirtation tank? Or certainly tank flirtation. Yeah, whether it worked, I don't know. No, I'm definitely.
And when pie isn't warmed up, like a Melton Mowbray style pork pie, would you serve it with cheese? Is that a Yorkshire thing? That's how
I've never.
They eat a pork
don't really
pie
see
with
No,
it.
you know what it
cheese.
is? I think it's a Britain's Fattest Man thing.
Is
Pat.
it?
Yes.
Well,
FM, I'm not familiar with that.
the West Riding of Yorkshire has been on board fairly early, because when we moved there, I remember that's one of the things that I
Cheese and
noticed.
pork pie.
Yeah, cheese and pork pie. Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
man, I tell you something though, I love a pork pie. It's the best thing ever.
Good.
And can I
Really
just say, if there's any pork pie manufacturers listening, I'm not trying to get free pork pies. You can stick them. I'll buy my own. But I don't like people who beg on the road. I mean, for example, and I'm not a man to criticise Dizzy Rascal, but he did an interview where he talked about this, the legendary Nando's black card.
Yes.
Oh, I want one of those, Frank.
Well, do you? I don't know if
I love
in
a
case you don't
Nando's.
know, with the Nando's black card, you get Nando's for life.
Yeah.
With it, you can go
I
into
know a
Nando's
lot of celebrities have
anytime.
got one.
Yeah, it's a big thing for celebrities. I'd never had Nando's, and I had my first Nando's this week.
How was it?
Well, let me put it this way: if anyone's thinking of sending me a Nando's black card, you're all right.
No, Frank, the peri
Put it back in your pocket.
Don't
It's
you
all
like
right.
the peri-peri chicken?
If they sent me a Nando's black card, I'd end up just getting the ice off my windscreen with it. Do you know what I mean?
My problem with the Nando's is that it's restaurant prices for what is takeaway food. It's not.
No, I think you're missing the whole
like
point.
a
The
restaurant.
peri-peri, you can't get that anywhere else.
You
Cooked.
can.
Yes, I know.
I've got
but
hot sauce. Don't make me boast about how
not
I've got hot
cooked with
sauce.
in a special
Does
way.
it come in various sizes?
Oh, do you know what, Frank? It's actually
What I'm
making my
asking
mouth...
is, do peri peri go large? Now, my reasons are less complicated. I didn't like it.
I understand.
The food.
Yeah,
The food's all right, isn't it? What? It's just a bit of chicken, isn't it? It's chicken burgers and
didn't
stuff
like
like
it. Didn't like it. Stick your black card. I don't want it. If you send me one, I'll just leave it on the pavement.
that. I'll find it.
Yeah, but will you pick it up with all that dog mess on it? That's the question. Anyway, that's
Frank, we've had
cleared that up.
We've had another...
Not the dog mess. That's still there,
No,
apparently.
that's the loitering. We've had another email during the week.
Well, I must say, we're getting very, very popular this
Well,
week.
this was from Robin Column. I think it's Column.
Robin Collins. Okay.
And this was about the English-speaking forest boy, Ray.
Oh, yes.
You may have seen him in the news.
Yeah, I wasn't. I was a little unsure about this story, 'cause I was thinking about. Do you remember the mad piano player who was
Yes.
found on a beach and then
Piano
played
man.
it? Turned out to be a hoax, didn't it?
Did it really?
Yeah.
He'd just been sacked from his job or something.
I didn't know
exactly.
that,
And he went
Frank.
and hung around on the beach and pretended he had, he was a merman or something of that nature. And so I was dubious.
Oh.
But it sounds like Forest Boy Ray.
Well, Robin, although Ray, bit of a strange 70s Mancunian name
It is a weird
for a Berlin forest boy.
17-year-old boy called Ray. Yeah, he's in there with his mates Ernest and
Yeah.
Edith.
Do you want to hear what Robin has to say? He says, I hope you've heard the news out of Germany about an English wild boy. On many levels, it is a very sad story, but on one level, it is completely fabulous. Oh, he sounds rather like me.
Isn't life often like that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because it shares so many elements of the tale of Peter the Wild, who you're familiar with,
Well,
Frank.
I think some of you all know is a friend of the show. He's a wild boy. What was he called? What was he was feral.
Yes. And he was at the court of, I think it was...
Wild Feral, they called him. He was Will Ferrell was named after him.
Yes.
Yeah, he was a feral boy. He was kept by, I think, George the First as a
believe
sort
so.
of a pet.
On a leash.
Times have changed.
Sometimes on a leash.
Yeah, sometimes on a Lulu.
He had wild, unruly hair and, is it epicanthic folds?
Epicanthic folds.
Yeah, he had those.
Yeah.
So, anyway...
Not
Peter
Forest
the
Boy
Wild.
Ray. That's
No,
Peter
this
the
is
Wild.
Peter the Wild.
That's your
That was
Peter
just
the
new
Wild
readers.
reminder.
Yeah, exactly.
Forest Boy Ray does sound like a jazz musician or something.
He does, yeah.
So Robin says, mysterious origins check, German forests check. Oh, it's a German forest, Peter the Wild as well. British connection check. Of course, I hope that this young man can be reunited with family and live a normal, happy life. But if not, perhaps the royal family would be willing to take him
Well,
in
that would be great if they did
for old
that.
time's sake.
Yeah.
That would be... I mean, I just can't picture that, though, can you? Maybe Kate Middleton will put in a word for him.
Pippa.
Yeah, she's probably... if they have kids, it'd be like having your own Sylvanian family man. Knocking about. It's, as you say, it's a slightly sad story because that's if it's true, but he's claiming that he was living in the forest with his dad for most of the time, and then his dad recently passed away. And this slightly spoils the story, isn't it? Because I always like them to be raised by different species.
Yeah.
I don't like it when they take their own pen. For me, he's the dad, God rest his soul, is a spanner in the works in this story.
Yeah.
What you want is looking for parenthood, family of squirrels, befriend him, and then he becomes Squirrel Boy, and then you've got a real story.
Yes.
Not someone, I mean, what they are basically is itinerants, which, let's face it, is not such a big deal. But if he was Squirrel Boy, if they said that he climbed the tree, they saw him climbing a tree and he didn't go straight up, he spiralled, as only a squirrel does, then I'd say this is the boy for me. I'd be very... If they said he got the hair in the small of his back was starting to become lustrous and upturned,
Well, actually...
he'd be the man.
Frank, they've issued a computer-generated image of him, and I'd like to state...
Is he older
here-
than not?
No, but
Okay.
he's got what appear to be highlights, and I'm a bit suspicious.
He's got highlights, having lived in the forest.
Well, unless there's some foxy barber.
And he's
What
got
happened?
such of a Justin Bieber-style mop top kind of thing going on
I
as
think
well.
what's happened with him is before he went into the forest, they applied sunning.
Yeah.
And because the sun obviously breaks through irregularly through the branches, it's only bleached him in parts. That's what's
But
happened.
it's
there.
all. I mean, it's a £140 Nicky Clark do he's sporting there.
Well, that
I'm
can't be right.
suspicious.
Yeah.
Unless I did hear that Nicky Clark had moved into woodland on a regular basis. Perhaps he has a sort of a hobby house type salon.
He's got the squirrel hair. Squirrel. Yeah, I believe that's a shade that he uses.
There's
yeah.
there's part of it that's slightly. I could imagine myself living in the woods.
Could you?
I could imagine myself going missing. I would...
Could you really?
Oh, yeah. There's something alluring about being a missing person, I think.
Do you? Yeah.
Yeah, I just think it seems like fun.
Oh, I'd love to be on a milk cart.
Would you? Yeah.
Yeah.
I've
I've
not
been
so
on a
much
crisp
in-
packet. I mean, I feel I'd have the set.
Small steps, isn't it? I just think...
Small steps for Squirrel Boy.
Yeah.
Do you think they could have a new Ant and Dec themed one we got called Red or Grey? With a series of Squirrel Boys gathered from around the world, and you have to guess which species they've settled into. There'd be ginger-haired ones, and then there'd be the older Squirrel Boys.
Losing their power.
No, but it's not as fun a story as that, because just being with your dad in the forest, I mean, it's a poor man's Hansel and Gretel.
And also, during his teenage years, he probably wanted to go off and forage in the bushes for mucky magazines. Perhaps that's why they were there in the forest for
Well,
that
maybe.
long.
It'd be for research purposes. I'd like to speak to him about the defecation habits of bears.
Yeah.
He'd know.
And whether or not when a tree falls, he heard it.
Yeah. Well, that's the trouble, is he'd always be there, so
Yeah.
that experiment would go out the window.
Oh, that's that gone.
I think I could live in a forest.
I can see you in a forest.
Yeah, so I'd need some modern. I wouldn't mind,
I think you'd need literature, because
I'd
you like a book.
I'd like my iPhone. Would that be all right? Can I have my iPhone? If this
Sure,
is,
there'd be much
if this-
signal in the middle of
If
the
this
big
was
forest.
forest discs, about if I had to live in a forest of my own. Yeah, the thing is, I'd want like a mushroom app
Yes, and I think
and a berry app,
you'd
so that I
befriend
knew what I was eating.
the wildlife, the flora and fauna. I think you'd get on very well with them.
Well, I love a tree. A tree's my favourite thing. I've always said, if no one had ever seen a tree, ever, there were no trees on the planet, and somebody created a tree, it had been an art gallery as a major exhibition of something beautiful and wondrous.
Yeah.
Because they're all over the place, we take them for granted. Squirrel Boy wouldn't even look twice at one. You know what I mean? I imagine he sleeps elongated against a bough. You think? You'd sleep above ground, I think.
Squirrel.
Is he now officially Squirrel Boy?
I'm thinking... yeah,
That's it.
if it is a ruse, I think he's made a mistake with the dad thing.
And the
Also,
highlights.
I don't want to get too macabre, but the father died, and he said he buried him in a shallow grave, and then he left the forest, didn't he? It's obviously very sad, but isn't it illegal to do that?
Yeah, but I'm sure at that
The
stage-
producer shook her head at that stage quite emphatically.
It's not illegal.
suggesting she might have some prior experience of this.
No,
Do you have form?
She's from the north of England, where I think they're put under apple trees to improve the flavour of the fruit.
Life is cheap.
Yeah, but no, I'm sure. So if I think he's in trouble already.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I'm not sure that after 5 years of living with his dad in the forest, perhaps he wasn't thinking about the law. Perhaps he thought, I'll just bury him and go back into the town.
Yeah, but having been there for 5 years, he could have spent an extra couple of hours and done a deep one.
Yeah.
They always go shallow, these people.
He had
Bit
stuff
like
to
me.
do. He had stuff to do.
It's the Peter Stringfellow approach to grave digging.
Yeah. I like the fact that it said in the paper that he wants to go back into the forest, but then another newspaper article said he enjoys bowling. He's been going bowling. He's been going 10-pin bowling. Just see a forest boy with a hot
How big are the
dog
rabbits in that forest? How long has he been out of the forest?
I don't know, a week or something.
Oh, he's behaving like a lottery winner. It's embarrassing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's the trouble. Once he's got used to the sunlight, it's gone completely to his head, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Bit of a shame, really, because if him and his dad had gone camping, rather than take the tent, they'd taken £3,000. They could have had the Hobbit house in Wales, couldn't
Yeah.
they? Just,
Then everybody would have been happy.
yeah.
I don't know if I'd trust the squirrel boy in there. You know what I mean? Where's the bark gone off the leg of this sofa? Him looking a bit sheepish in the corner. Well, if he looked sheepish, of course, that'd confuse things even more. He's working his way through the animal kingdom, right?